Is Bitcoin really an inflation hedge and store of value? The answer, I think, will surprise you. Government is destroying your currency, so there really isn't a long term reason to save it. Where do you turn? Is Bitcoin really an inflation hedge or a store of value as they say it is? The media is pouncing all over it. Many are dancing on Bitcoin's grave right now as it crashes down 60, 70% from the all time highs. However, since March 2020 lows, Bitcoin is still up almost 500%, almost 6x. I don't know of any assets that have done that. That's only in 27 months. And that's a very short time frame. Again, maybe oil, maybe something to that effect, where it was negative that you could say as a better return. Certainly not stocks. Certainly not, any index funds or anything like that. I mean, nothing even close. Real estate, nothing even comes close to that kind of return from all of their March 2020 lows to where they are currently, to new lows, we'll say, updated lows. That is really an astounding fact when you just take it on face value, saying if you would have bought in 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, and you would have sat there and the return you would have compared to stocks, real estate, other things, other assets, what inflation has done to you if you've held in stimmies in dollars over the years. And again, this chart here shows the lows and where it's at now, March 2020 to now. And then again, what has been done to the dollar? Really, I think Raoul Paul really denotes, and many people have too, but the falling denominator, the fiat dollar, the dollar is the denominator in all these, really in all these comparisons, and it just continually is debased and printed. So the value of all these assets, the dollar goes down. It looks like the nominal price of all these assets go up, but it's really just the dollar falling and being debased. The Fed has printed 40% of all dollars in the past 27 months. So your currency has lost that amount of purchasing power as well. That all those currency units, as Mike Maloney points out, have to go somewhere. So that they're all going somewhere. So eventually those will come home to roost. So your dollar is lost by that much purchasing power. So people, again, saying 70%, 60%, the Bitcoin is down from its all-time high. And then they don't realize that the dollar has fallen in half, in essence, as well, or dang close, and in half, and many other assets have gone up even more. So it's been cut in half even more. And again, some reasons why we've talked about this in the past, why the dollar is losing power. Chair Powell has said that the CBDC is coming and the dollar is at risk. So that is a huge thing that is coming, and we've talked a lot about and just posted about these recently. Putin said the dollar's worthless too, which you just talked about. And they will take gold and Bitcoin for oil. Saudi Arabia said they will take yuan for dollars, yuan for oil and not dollars. The Fed just keeps typing digits into their computer, which is the new currency printing, obviously. So the chart here, and again, this chart shows the purchasing power of the dollar falling over the last 100 years, just getting obliterated. The chart here shows the purchasing power of the dollar compared to Bitcoin. And before we get into this, again, this is why your grandfather's house cost $5,000 60, 70 years ago, in here, up in here, and here, and then now it cost $300,000 or $3 million because it takes that many more dollars. The house hasn't changed. The house is still the same, still built the same wood, the same cement, and it just takes that many more dollars because they debased it. They've destroyed your purchasing power, your wealth so much, and transferred it to them. The ones that get to use it, right, fresh from the currency printing, they get to use it, spend it in circulation, they get the benefit. You are left holding the bag and paying more and more currency units for the exact same goods in the same carton of eggs, which we're going to show you a chart on eggs versus the dollar, eggs versus Bitcoin later, which is going to blow your mind. So stay tuned for that. And again, here is some incredible stats done by Palm Beach Research Group, Tika Twari. The chart here shows the purchasing power of the dollar compared to Bitcoin. The chart shows how many Satoshis, the divisible units of Bitcoin, can be bought by $1 US. It has fallen through the floor in the past 10 years. So again, this is really an astonishing stat here looking at this. And you see the US dollar falling in purchasing power compared to Satoshi. So how many Satoshis can be bought by a dollar? And as Tika denotes down here, despite its volatility, I believe that over time, Bitcoin is the best hedge against inflation. No other asset comes close. In January 2013, $1 US dollar could buy nearly 10 million sats, 10 million Satoshis. Today, that same $1 can only buy 4,000 sats. Think about that. That means the value of a single sat measured in US dollars has increased by 190,000% almost in just under 10 years. No other asset I know has increased in value that much over the past decade, not one. Because of Bitcoin's pre-programmed scarcity and proof of work security, I expect that trend to continue for many decades to come. And I would expect that to come for hundreds, if not thousands of years. That's why I say, despite its pullback, Bitcoin is the best inflation hedge today. And it's only going to see its value increase. That's because the government will continue printing, we know that, guaranteed, and sending the dollar into oblivion. End quote. This is why people are struggling and don't know why. It was only masked by the fact that people thought they were getting wealthier because asset prices and 401ks were going up in nominal price, or it's called the wealth effect, thinking that you're wealthier. However, the real value, so taking inflation rate minus interest rates, that's the real value of assets and what's going on, or the real interest rate, the real return you're getting. The real value of the purchasing power, all of our purchasing power, has been falling because the dollar is losing value. The denominator is being printed into oblivion, so the denominator is rising, making your purchasing power go down and making it look like the nominal price is going up in values. Taking homes, we're going to have charts on these assets compared to the dollar, compared to Bitcoin, and showing you inflation makes each dollar worthless or worth less and buys you less goods and services, making you poor. Remember, compounding works both ways. Positive compounding is great. However, inflation acts as a negative compounding anchor. If I could type here, a negative compounding anchor around your neck, causing everything in life to get more expensive if you hold fiat dollars. Again, here's a chart showing the dollar's price versus gold's price, or excuse me, Bitcoin's price, and has gone through the floor almost immediately 10 years ago and has never got off the mat. It's just been destroyed. It's been obliterated. I mean, that's the ugliest chart I've ever seen in my life. There's really nothing to say about that. Tika Tuari notes again, sound money goes up in value over time. It doesn't go up in a straight line, but it'll be worth more than it was in the past. Yes, Bitcoin is highly volatile. That's because it's still a relatively small asset class. At $450 billion, its market cap is 24 times less than gold. But as adoption increases, Bitcoin's volatility will tamp down. The crashes will be fewer and farther between, and they'll be less severe than they are now. Ask anyone that has developed massive wealth, and they'll tell you they created that wealth by having a vastly different opinion from everyone else. They then back that opinion with sweat, equity, and money. Fortunes don't come from following the crowd. They come from going against conventional wisdom. They come from letting go of the fear of looking foolish and backing your judgment over the judgment of others. And again, I'm going to end with some charts here that are just going to blow you away. So eggs priced in Bitcoin last year. The Fed just came out and published this article saying, haha, look, Bitcoin, when you price eggs in Bitcoin, the price has gone up. So like, see, Bitcoin is not a store of value. It's not an inflation hedge. And the Fed, the joke's on them because they literally cherry picked and tried to cherry pick data to make themselves look good, which shows you how scared they are of Bitcoin. And the Fed tries to fool you, but we're going to zoom out. So this is a chart they showed in the last year, just over at 13 months or 14 months, and it looks like it's going up. There's a little swing up. Huh. But when you zoom out, eggs priced in Bitcoin from 2015 to 2022, you can buy a lot more eggs. Look at that chart. That's the second ugliest chart I've ever seen for the US dollar getting destroyed. Bitcoin buys you a lot more eggs than it used to, and then it does compared to the dollar. So the price of eggs has gone through the floor again. So you can obtain way more eggs now because the price in Bitcoin terms, if you're holding Bitcoin, one Bitcoin is going to buy you a ton compared to what it used to 7 years ago. And then again, here is eggs priced in dollars from that same time span, 2015 to 2022. So see, I can show you both of them. So if you're holding Bitcoin, your life's getting cheaper, your life's getting more abundant, your life is obtaining, your wealth is accruing value, and you're obtaining more things for your one Bitcoin. Where if you're holding a dollar, look, and I didn't even show the zoomed out version. The zoomed out version for 40, 50 years is just straight up and to the right. So your life has gotten more expensive as inflation, as we showed you the purchasing power chart up here. As your life has got more expensive, the value of the dollar goes down like this. The dollar priced in, or eggs priced in dollars over the last 50 years is inverted. It goes up and to the right like this. So it's exactly opposite of this chart, which makes sense. So dollars are getting rocked by Bitcoin, as we pointed out at the beginning of the article, and it's not even close. The loss of our purchasing power before our eyes, but it doesn't stop there. Bitcoin compared to QQQ. So one of the big Invesco, one of the big things that you see on CNBC, and people love talking about these charts all the time and have fun. Look at this. Since the last 10 years, since 2012, QQQs compared to Bitcoin, absolutely demolished. This is the third worst chart that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it gets worse and worse and worse. So again, if you're holding QQQs, it's gotten destroyed by Bitcoin, absolutely demolished. Again, Bitcoin compared to the NASDAQ. So just going through the floor basically. And then it broke through in December 2020 and just got crushed there and broke the trend line. Same thing with Bitcoin compared to emerging markets. So foreign markets that are supposed to be really good. And there are a lot of people that tell you, oh, this is great. There's more ROI in these markets, getting destroyed as well. The chart looks very similar to the NASDAQ. Bitcoin compared, and again, people talk about the correlation to NASDAQ or the tech stock, stuff like that. I mean, look at how much Bitcoin has appreciated. And again, when you can't see things, when you're looking at things nominally or you're looking at things in a linear charts, you cannot see what's going on. That's why you have to compare things against each other, price versus value. We did a video, go check the video, price versus value, where we went through, talked about Mike Maloney, and the importance of price versus value, knowing price. He always says, Americans know the price of everything and the value of nothing. And this is why they're called invisible crashes. He talks about invisible crashes all the time, where you can't see what's going on unless you're doing some due diligence. Then Bitcoin compared to gold. Everyone loves to talk about Bitcoin and gold. Well, here we go. Same exact chart almost. Gold getting crushed by Bitcoin, breaking trend line 2 years ago, and hasn't looked back. Bitcoin compared to the median price home. I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. U.S. real estate, home prices versus Bitcoin. Again, going through the floor. If you thought home prices can somehow keep up with Bitcoin's growth, then think again. The digital property is destroying a real property. When priced in Bitcoin, houses in the U.S. have been getting 10 times cheaper every 4 years. You've been able to buy 10 times more house if you hold Bitcoin. Remarkable. So one of the questions again, and ending here, people ask, why is Bitcoin correlated to stocks or tech? And I just answered some of that. Looking, when you don't divide things against each other and you are just trying to relate nominal price to each other, it's very hard to see it. They're invisible crashes. You cannot see them. And again, short-term correlations tell you nothing about long-term returns or value, which I showed you in the eggs chart. When you just took a 6, 12, 18-month time span, then you can make charts look like whatever you want. Look at pets.com and Amazon, both on the same trajectory and correlated. Now one runs the world and the other quickly went out of business. In crashes or in shorter time frames, correlations generally all go to 1 and cash floods into the dollar. But when in doubt, zoom out. If you're looking in 6 to 12, 18-month spans, you will miss many investments, namely Bitcoin. You might as well go to Wall Street and become a hedge fund manager if you're thinking in that short of a time span. We don't look at traditional stores of value and judge them in 1 year, like gold. We don't, traditional stores, we don't do that. We don't say, they were really crappy in 1 year. We look at them over, decades and over centuries, which will happen with Bitcoin over time. Bitcoin is the apex predator asset. Bitcoin's properties lend it to being the hardest asset and currency to ever exist. Would a bubble or something that had no value and it wasn't anything other than just speculation continue taking down all other asset classes over 10, 12, 13 years? Would it crash and die and then rise again over and over while continuing to break new highs, higher highs, and set lower lows? Stay strong. Again, I hope that the evidence, I rest my case. I hope that, like I said, go back and check any other videos, price to value, some other videos I've done about this on the playlist here or the other blog articles. Go check. We've talked about a lot of these things, shown a lot of charts, and talked about exactly, if you have more questions on it, please comment below. I'll answer them. But also we have many other videos and blogs talking about this very thing and presenting the case that has been the best asset to hedge inflation and store value, and it will continue to do so and only pick up speed, quite honestly, as sovereigns and corporations, more sovereigns, more wealth funds, more pensions, more insurance companies, more, you name it, start coming into this space, coming into Bitcoin. So if you like these videos, please let me know. If you like these blogs, please subscribe to them. Please share them with anyone that you think would get a kick out of them. We'll continue to do the audio version of this. In the next couple of weeks, we'll have our next update for the monthly portfolio. And again, eventually at some point, maybe later this year, it will be a paid version for $5 a month or something like that, $10 a month, maybe $50 for the year or something like that. You get a deal if you pay for it up front. So we will do that in a little bit, and maybe some other free or some goodies along with that as well. And I appreciate your time, your energy, and your attention. It's the most important asset we have. And again, please share, please comment. If you don't like these videos, if you dislike them, please do that as well. Please let me know. We also have a podcast coming we're going to be doing. And I just appreciate you joining in. Let me know what else you would like to see. And we will continue down this road together. And again, if you have other questions on these, let me know. But also, again, we do have a lot of other blog articles and videos that we've done on them. So appreciate you. And until next time, take it easy. We'll see you on the next one.